We're going to look at our virtual lab. So on the front of your textbook is that web address. So I'm going to open a browser. I like Mozilla the best. Okay, and I'm going to type in that web URL. Okay, I don't Google it. I type it into the URL. So it's www.msscience.com. And this is where it takes me as soon as it's done thinking. I don't know why I have caps locks on. Just happens sometimes. All right, so this is where you will go. This isn't the official page of the website. This is just telling it what state you're in and choosing your book. Okay? Now, on all of our school computers, the correct page is bookmarked. But at your house, you're going to need to create a bookmark. So you have to walk through the steps of saying, I'm in California, I'm a student, and enter. And then you're going to choose your book. Now, we're in California, so we use the California program books. And what's the name of our book?
Focus on Life Science.
Focus on Life Science, and we're copyright 2007, so we're going to click this book. And this is the page you want to bookmark. So when you get home, you want to create a bookmark. Okay, and I actually happen to already have it, so I don't need to bookmark mine. And when you open your browser on your laptops, double check. Make sure that you have a bookmark for your science labs. And just if you don't, create one that says 7th grade science. Okay? And then it will always be there and you won't have to walk through those other steps of finding the book, telling it what state you're in. Now when you're on this website, you can click on, there are lots of things on here. I'm going to show you throughout the week some other things as we get ready for our test that's on Friday. But the one that we're going to look at today is the virtual lab. So I'm going to click the virtual lab button, and then I'm going to tell it that I'm in chapter 10, and I want to do the chapter 10 virtual lab. And then all I have to do is I can either click it here, or I can click it up here. Okay? So I click on it. It tells me that the name of my lab is what factors affect the likelihood of hypertension. Okay, and I'm going to click on it. And a lab opens. Okay? Now, the most important piece to this lab is this information over here and down the side. Okay? If you don't read it, you won't know what you are supposed to do. If you don't read it well and you decide to skip information, you'll be missing something. Sometimes some of the answers to the questions that you have to answer are actually in this introduction part. Okay? The other thing that this is doing is it's set up very much like how you set up your science fair project boards. It has a piece of information. It tells you something, tells you what your objectives are for the lab, what you're supposed to be trying to learn and do. Then it has step-by-step procedures of what you're supposed to do and how to handle this particular lab, just like you do when you are presenting your science fair project. Okay? Afterwards, it says complete the journal questions. So these little buttons down here have some different information. If you want to use a calculator, you can click on the calculator. It will pop up and you can do your number crunching on the calculator. If all of the labs have a table that you collect your data into, because guess what? All science projects collect numbered, measurable information that we put in a data table of some sort. So this table, after you do whatever you're supposed to do, you can type into those boxes. And then when you're finished with it, all you have to do is hit print and go get it off of the printer. Okay? If you close it and you come back to it in the same session, like I click on it, I type something, and then I decide to close it, it's gone. So you have to enter all your data before you hit close. Does that make sense? This computer program doesn't save. So a lot of times what the 8th graders do is they take a look at what this data table looks like and what it's supposed to be, and they open a Word document, then they create a Word document with a data chart in it. And they go back and forth. You can shrink this guy so that he can sit right here, and you can type the same things that are in that table. Does that make sense? And then this will not, you won't lose your data. Does that make sense? Yes? Okay. The other good thing about doing it this way is that you can actually put your name on it. And now when you print, you know that it's yours. Okay? So I close this guy, and I want to open my journal. And my journal is the questions that I'm required to answer for this lab. So there are 8 questions that have to be answered for the lab. And so the first one says, state the problem about the relationship of age and gender to blood pressure. Well, I don't know. So my guess is that the answer to that is somewhere here in this reading that you have to do. Does that make sense? Yes? Yes.
Do we do that before we do the lab?
You always read before, always read everything.
Yeah, the question.
You can't answer the question until after you've completed the data chart. Just like in your science projects, you collect your data and then you draw conclusions based on your data. Same thing. Your questions are, the answers to these questions are your conclusions from the data that you've taken in. Okay? So when you type your answers, they always must be in complete sentences. So my first question says, state the problem about the relationship of age and gender to blood pressure. So I would start my question with, the relationship of age and gender to blood pressure is, and then I have to figure out what my answer is, and it's probably a 3 to 5 sentence answer, incomplete sentences with all my best spelling and grammar and all of those things taken into consideration. And when I'm done with question 1, I can click this arrow, it'll take me to question 2, and I can do the same thing. I can type in it, and I can move on. And when I'm all finished, I can hit the print button. And again, this does not save. So if you close it out, it's gone. Okay? So if you don't like that, I would open up another Word document and I would type my answers here. Does that make sense? These things, these documents can be saved in your student server file. They can then be either put on a thumb drive and taken home with you, or they can be emailed to your home account and you can open them at home. Okay? When you do labs, you're always working with another person. However, if you don't finish it in class, you both have to finish it on your own at home, which means that you both need a copy of the questions that you've already done and the data that you've already done. Okay? So using the Word document at the same time is a really great idea. Okay? Yes? Okay, this is how you practice for the science fair. So you always want to do, your best, right? This is not a fast assignment. This is not a rush it assignment. This is not short answers. This is let me think and learn. This is what we talked about in Chapter 10. This is the lab that goes with all the stuff we learned about the pressure in the heart and how the lungs and the heart work together and how they keep the body healthy. And the problems that can go wrong. Hypertension is one of the problems. Okay, questions? All right, so, Melissa?
Can you show us again how to get in there?
I'm going to let you get in there with your lab, and I'll walk around and help you get in there, and then it'll be your job to watch this video tonight and practice it on your home computer tonight. Okay? Okay,